If you are in the pre-product market fit stage or the pre-revenue stage, you're likely still in that zone where you're honing in on that software idea, that SaaS idea, so that you can get it to revenue, so that you can get it to that traction. Over the last 18 months, having worked with over 100 SaaS founders directly to help them really hone in on their SaaS idea, really vet their idea in the market to break through, I've learned a few things. Some actually broke through to revenues. Some weren't able to break through and had to go back and repivot the idea. Some got a little bit of revenues, but then got stuck and had to go back and repivot. And so having worked with all these founders, having gone through my own journey where some ideas worked and some totally failed, in this episode, I wanted to bring you my 3 key principles that I want to walk you through. And when you learn and execute on these principles, you will be able to make sure that you pick the right SaaS idea and follow the right process to actually break through to product market fit and that next stage of growth and those initial revenues. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS business faster with an unstoppable strategy. If you are new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode like this every single Sunday with actionable strategies on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you will get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. Now, if you're already part of this community, this fast-growing community of SaaS founders, leaders, and practitioners, my people, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. So even in my own journey as a SaaS founder, I've worked with 2 companies that I started, grew, and sold. I've worked with 2 companies that bought my companies and we exited those. But I've also had ideas and products that I thought was gonna be really great, but then ended up going nowhere. Having gone through that process, having learned some hard lessons, having worked with over 100 founders directly to help them go through the process, I wanna walk you through the 3 principles that you absolutely need to know to really develop your SaaS software idea and make sure you follow the right process so you don't waste months building the wrong product just like I did. So if you're excited to dig into principle number 1, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really likes it when you do that. And let's just jump right into it. So principle number 1, and this is one of the core themes that I followed in this channel. So you'll be familiar with the higher level principles, but we're gonna dig into some details that are really different. Principle number 1 is to really think about the market you are going after. Very often, especially with the founders that I've worked directly with, some of them, they really struggled because they were looking for this golden idea, but it was completely detached from a market. It was completely detached from their own domain knowledge, what they knew, what they were familiar with, where they had natural relationships. It was detached from any reality. They were just looking for a great idea. And it put them at a position of disadvantage of actually being successful with that idea. When you flip that, when we had founders in my programs and I was coaching, or even for me, when I focused on ideas that were grounded in a real market and I had some domain knowledge in it, and I had intimate knowledge around it, those ideas tended to do 10 times better. And so what I realized over the long haul, over 15 years in being in SaaS and over helping founders, is that ideas themselves don't matter. What matters is the market. Is the market the right fit for you and the right fit for the product that you're gonna be building? If you can start to really hone in on the market, a lot of other things are more likely to pan out. And so what does that mean? Well, the biggest thing you wanna identify is what market are you especially going after? Is there a specific industry? Is there a vertical? Is there a particular department? Is there a particular role? Like, what is the specific group of people that you're going to be building your product for? Having a thesis around that, really articulating that, is one of the first steps that a lot of founders tend to skip, and that ends up having them waste months on building the wrong product that no one ended up wanting. They kind of wanted it for themselves, but there wasn't enough of a market for it. And on that vein, as you start to really hone in on what is the market that we want to solve problems for, the other question you really want to answer is it an urgent and important problem? There are a lot of problems out there that exist, but they're not urgent and they're not important, and therefore businesses and people are not going to spend their dollars to solve it. Now, is it a certain problem where, you know what, it's kind of annoying to use the spreadsheet and keep it in track and maybe there's some bugs in it? Well, yeah, it could be a problem, but that doesn't mean it's one of their top 3 problems. Unless you really vet that the market you're going after and the people you're going after and the problem you're trying to solve, the idea you have for a product, it solves a problem that's truly urgent and important. If you don't vet that out early on, again, you might build the product and then end up losing months building the wrong product again. The third thing that I found within this principle around markets is domain knowledge. What is domain knowledge? Well, first, let me write it down. Domain knowledge. Domain knowledge is this market you're going after, a specific permutation of this industry, vertical, department, role, and the problem you're solving. That's a domain, okay? That's one domain. That's one market, if you will. And you can even think of this as market knowledge. The question is, do you have sufficient domain knowledge or market knowledge about this space you're going after? One of the things I've noticed, even for myself, is when I had a deeper understanding of the market I was going after, it wasn't some market that theoretically would be good, but I literally worked in, lived in, had friends in, or had connections in, and business acquaintances in. When I work with founders that have actual domain knowledge, they tend to be more successful with their startup idea. When founders are, for example, this is a real story from like 15 years ago, 2 single guys, never been married, but wanting to disrupt the wedding industry, having never been in the wedding industry nor gotten married, and 2 dudes, they just don't have the domain knowledge. They didn't really stand a chance at success. And so thinking in terms of market first, before you get into product or idea or some brilliant idea product that got funded for $50 million and you're like, I should do that too, you really want to save yourself months of wasting time by really asking yourself, cool, what is the market we're going after? What specifically, how do we define it? Is it an urgent, important problem that we're solving? And do I have enough domain knowledge or connections in this market to really make sure that I know what I'm talking about? Now, if you don't have domain knowledge, does that mean you shouldn't approach it? No, you can learn more about it. Truthfully, when I started ToutApp, which pioneered the sales engagement category, I didn't know as much about sales and marketing, but I read probably about 100 books on go-to-market. I talked to a lot of go-to-market leaders and I learned from them. I said, look, no, there's something here and I really care about this. I got to figure out go-to-market for my own company no matter what. So I'm going to go really get the domain knowledge for this. But knowing whether you have it or not will help you define your steps to success. And so asking yourself this is super, super important. So that's principle number 1, market. The second principle gets into product. So what you'll learn is that when you are developing your software idea, and even maybe you watch some other videos that are about software ideas or SaaS ideas, they're gonna give you like, here's 3 ideas that you should go do, and here's why. And those are great videos too. I've done a bunch of them and they've done really well, upwards of 40,000 views. So I'll link to them below and you can check it out later. You don't have to go right now. One of the things that's a disservice is if you just take one of those ideas and just pursue it. Instead, what I'm telling you to do is if you like one of these ideas, or maybe you have 3 ideas of your own, vet it. First, vet the market. Then you want to really vet the type of product you're going to be building before you start building anything. The worst thing you can be doing is just starting to build a product and hoping that people will come. That's the classic adage of build it and they will come. Or in today's parlance, we are product-led growth, meaning we'll build the product and the product will lead the growth, whereas you still need marketing. And so one of the biggest things you really want to understand is product as a principle and as a focus comes second after you've really thought about the market, the problem you're solving, and the domain knowledge. Either you have the domain knowledge or you're building it up so that you can build the right type of product. And when it comes to SaaS products, look, there can be lots of unique ideas that are getting funded, but ultimately, there's only 3 golden types of SaaS products. The first golden type is a system of record. This is where the product you are building and the problem you're solving helps this department, this company, this industry, this vertical, whatever it is, really write down and digitize their processes. Instead of putting it in spreadsheets or paper, they're going to use your system to record everything that they are doing. That's the first golden type of SaaS. And the second golden type of SaaS is a system of engagement. A system of engagement sits on top of a system of record. It means they've already digitized their processes. A system of engagement helps them do their job, either in its entirety, like a workflow product, or certain aspects of their job. So for example, in the sales world, where I'm very intimately familiar, the CRM, which everyone knows about, is the system of record. And the system of engagement, which Toutapp pioneered, and now you have SalesLoft and Outreach and probably 100 other companies doing that, is how salespeople did their job. So salespeople would do their jobs and then write down in the system of records so they could be managed and the opportunities could be tracked. And then we introduced a system of engagement that said, cool, now do your job in here. Make the phone calls, send the emails, follow up, prioritize the right deals. That was the system of engagement. That's the second type of golden type of product that you can build to solve the urgent, important problems. And the third one is your system of decision. And system of decision is essentially an analytics product or a business intelligence product. These type of products look at the data inside of the system of record, look at the data inside of system of engagement, and then gives insights and analytics and helps you make decisions. And there's a natural pecking order for these kind of ideas. This tends to be the most valuable. This tends to be the second most valuable, and this tends to be the third most valuable. And I'll almost give a half over here because this is becoming more and more valuable. And so what you'll want to understand is, given this market, the urgent, important problem you're solving, what is the best kind of product that's needed? Are they still in that maturity level where they need a system of record, or is there already a well-entrenched one? If there's a well-entrenched one, are you going to try and disrupt it, or are you going to build on top of it and build a system of engagement? And if you're building if a system of engagement already exists, then do you do a system of decision? Granted, you need to know that a system of record is way more valuable, less likely to be ripped out, but also harder to get in and compete in. System of engagement, second, and system of decision, third. And so there's a natural pecking order. And that's principle number two. Once you have defined the market, then you get into the product and really think about, well, what is the most compelling product we can create for this market? And when you start to do it this way, it takes you out of this like chasing a flash in the pan type of idea, which may or may not be good, to thinking consistently about, look, here's an idea I have, let me put it through this framework on figuring out if it's any good. Or I don't really know, let me follow the market and see what they say and see what the most compelling product that's needed is based on my domain knowledge, the urgent, important problems I'm identifying. Either way, this will help you really make sure that you're building a compelling product that solves a compelling problem that people will be willing to pay for, thereby avoiding months of building the wrong product. Now, before I go to principle number three, let me just pause here for a second. Are you starting to see the power in this? Are you starting to see the power? And if you follow this kind of process, these two principles, how it can really transform how you approach building your SaaS business. If you start to see the power in this, can I just get a yes in the comments below? That way I know you're getting value. And also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really likes it when you do that. Also, if you're in this stage where you have an idea or you're starting to vet out your idea, and you really want to figure out, like, how do I vet these pieces out? Like, how do I kind of layer this? I run a detailed webinar, a much more in-depth one about these core principles, about how do you really think about market, how do you really think about product every single week. So all you have to do is just follow the link below. You don't have to go right now. Let me just go into principle number three, and in the end, I'll tell you more about it. It's completely free. It'll dig more into some of the principles in this video based on everything that I've learned, and then you can dig more into that. Okay, so principle number three, I'll tell you more about that video at the end of this. Principle number three is go to market. This is essentially your third principle. And one of the things about go-to-market is essentially what are the sales activities and the marketing activities that you're going to do. And I see a couple of traps happen often with founders at this stage. And I've made this mistake before also, so I'm not immune to it. I learned this the hard way, which is now I'm like, come on, you can't make this mistake. Here's what you need to know. This is why I do this. And so with go-to-market, the first biggest mistake I see is founders saying, we don't need to think about go-to-market right now. We don't need to think about sales and marketing. We just need to build a product. And one of the biggest flaws in that is what ends up happening is they build this product and they build this product and they build this product. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, we need to go to market. And then they now say like, oh, maybe we need to hire a salesperson or a marketing person, or even worse, like, oh, it's just gonna be product led. So we'll just do content marketing. But then it's too late. Now they're trying to sell this product that maybe the market doesn't want. So that's one of the big problems that I see, where they wait for go-to-market until the product's done. And that's kind of broken because you might be building the wrong product. And so the biggest point that I have in principle number three is start from day zero. In your initial Git commit, literally, like as you are committing to Git, you should also be thinking about sales and marketing, or how do you actually validate this idea with sales and marketing and talking to people from day zero. So your initial commit should correlate with your initial commit in your sales and marketing stack, if you will. That's how I think about it as an engineer. The reason this is so important is because as early as possible, even with the first commit, you want to be out there talking to as many people as possible in your target market about this urgent and important problem, and amassing more domain knowledge and vetting the product that you're building with them. That's what sales and marketing and go-to-market really is in the early stages. It's unscalable, and you're really engaging these people to figure out, hey, this is what we're building. Can we get some advice? Can you tell me about how you approach this? Is this an urgent, important problem? Would you buy it? Thinking about that and doing that as early as possible will help inform what you're building, what decisions you're making, and really increase your domain knowledge no matter how much you think you have, and really validate, is this an urgent and important problem that people would pay for? So that's the thing that you want to think about. You want to start thinking about sales and marketing activities from day zero, even if you're product-led. Because here's the thing. Let's just say you're going to do product-led growth. What that means is you're not going to have salespeople. Okay, that's fine. You still need to do marketing to get people into the product. And that's literally what you're doing, even if it's founder-led in the early days, talking to people and getting them into the product, seeing wireframes, understanding the problem, so you can vet if this idea is any good. The founders that skip the go-to-market part end up wasting months building the wrong product, and that really sucks. And the biggest thing that you're doing here is you are asking for money. Now, a lot of founders are like, well, the product's not ready, we can't ask for money. Well, you can ask for money for, let's just say, a guide. It's like, hey, we'll give you the full training on exactly how to think about this in terms of what the product does. You can ask them and say, hey, would you do a $1,000 pilot? Is this problem important enough for you where if we do a pilot, we do white glove service as soon as it's ready, would you pay $1,000 for that? And obviously the platform is going to cost way more when we're fully live, but $1,000 puts some skin in the game. You can start asking for money to really understand if people are lying to you or telling the truth. All right, because a lot of times people will just be nice and say, yeah, that's totally cool. It'd be really awesome. And also build this one extra feature, then I'll definitely do it. And you build all that. 6 months later, you go back and they're like, we're not quite ready yet. Can you build this one more feature? And you fall into one more feature trap. So that happens all the time. So this is why principle number 3 of starting go-to-market and getting into the practice of developing your value prop and asking for money as early as possible. So you now have a wait list of people that you're learning from and are ready to buy when the product is ready, and you're informing the product decisions and the market decisions based on your conversations and go-to-market. That's what you really, really want. And when you do that, you essentially de-risk your SaaS idea and you start to validate it much earlier than building the product, and you build a better product. You build a better roadmap because you're more informed and your domain knowledge goes up. So let me recap over here. Principle number 1 was market. Really understand what market you're going after. Is it an urgent, important problem? How do you amp up your domain knowledge? Do you have enough? Principle number 2 was product. There are 3 golden types of SaaS products: software product, system of record, system of engagement, system of decision. Figure out which one. That's going to define whether you can compete, how you can differentiate, whether there's enough value, which one's more valuable than others. And then principle number 3 is start go-to-market from day 0 and start generating more revenues, or testing for revenues as early as possible, so you know that you're not building a vitamin or a nice to have thing. People are really serious and not lying to you about how important this problem is. They're like, yeah, totally, I'll pay $1,000 for a pilot and I want in as fast as possible, then you know you're onto something. If they're like, well, let me know and add these features and then maybe we'll think about it, then maybe they're lying to you. So think about go-to-market. And those are the 3 principles that you want to apply to the software idea that you're working on, or you want to follow to develop the software idea that you want to be working on to increase your likelihood of success. These are 3 principles that I learned the hard way in my 15 years of SaaS. These are the principles that I teach and work in depth with founders that are in my SaaS launch program that I coach. And so there's over 100 of them. And so I wanted to give you what I've learned personally to build off of other videos that I've done in this channel. Now, what you may not know is, well, how do I really think about the market? Like, what is an urgent, important problem? Or you may not know is, like, what is the difference really between a system of record and system of engagement? I kind of grazed over it. I kind of covered it, but not fully. What you may not know is, what does an early stage go-to-market look like to really validate the idea, even before we have a product? This is why I run a weekly webinar that goes in depth into how to go from idea to initial revenues. I run this webinar on demand every single week, so you can access it and watch it in your own pace. But it's a 45-minute webinar going into all kinds of details of exactly how I approach this. It's completely free, and it's an extension of the principles that I've outlined over here. All you need to do is just go register at tkcater.com/webinar, tkcater.com/webinar, and you can watch it at your own pace. It's 45 minutes, or you can carve out some time to do it. But I promise you do that, you'll get much better understanding of these 3 pieces and on how to actually de-risk yourself and really work through the Shawshank crawl to product market fit and the next stage of growth. Also, if you got value from this, please share it with a fellow co-founder or a friend that's also in the SaaS space. My team and I put a lot of love into these videos. We want to help as many founders and practitioners as possible. And we just mean the world to us. So please share it with them. If it's a WhatsApp group or Slack group or mailing list. If you got value from this, please also smash that like button. The YouTube algorithm really loves it and we love it too. It just shows us that you got value from it. Put a lot of love into these videos. I also drop an episode like this with actionable strategies on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon that you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode or inside of that 45-minute webinar where I go in depth into these key principles. Take care. Building the wrong product just like I did. Intro. No, I already did intro.